Hi, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new. This is a compilation of the most recent Christmas season DIYs in one place as requested from the subscribers that love to craft to these long videos. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this craft, pizza pan. And the printable coming up here, I designed this, and there will be a link down below in my description box. And I'm using the Dollar Tree chalk paint. This is my first experience with it, and I found it to be really thick and gummy. So the second coat, and it does require 2 coats, I just used acrylic paint and it worked fine. Now I'm sure the chalk paint is good quality, but I just didn't need it to be that good a quality for the craft that I was doing, and it took a long time to dry. So just, I used acrylic and it worked fine. So I'm taking some chalk, and you saw what I did. I just scribbled on the back of the letters there so I could transfer them onto this pan. And now I'm taking my chalk pen and we're going to go ahead and fill it in. And this is a little neat trick. You just take some extra yarn that you have and you wrap it around the nautical rope. You can use any color, but it gives a lot of charm and character to the border. You can make things look like a candy cane stripe. I mean, look at that. If that had just been nautical rope, it would have been just so plain. And if you already have a lot of stuff with nautical rope, I mean, it's just another option. I like plain nautical rope too, but I was really having a fun time with doing different designs on my borders. So this worked out really, really well. So for this one, I'm taking the black and white buffalo check ribbon, and I'm going to make 3 smaller floral bows out of them. So I looped them around and around probably about 8 or 9 times, cut them at the end, and because I wrap them around so much, this bow is going to be so full that it's not necessary for me to cut at an angle in the middle there. I usually recommend that if you're going to see the middle of the bow, but you can already see the first one there, how it's done. It's so fluffy. It's like a little flower that you're not going to see the middle. So you can just bend it in half and then cut a slit. Not all the way through, obviously. You want to leave a thin piece of ribbon in the middle there because that's where you're going to be tying. But I like to use twine. I go ahead and tie twine because it's really strong. And then you just take the loops out in opposite direction, twist them, and kind of puff them up. And you get these beautiful, like little flower type bows. I love these. And then I'm taking some of the boxwood greenery and I'm gluing it underneath there. I decide it does need a pop of color, so I do grab some of these little berries here and glue that as well. But I think this came up so pretty. It was a Pinterest inspired craft, but I ended up changing it up so much it becomes your own, doesn't it? But anyway, I take these Dollar Tree snowflakes, put them on there, paint them white, and that's it. I absolutely love this. For this next craft, I'm going to finally make use of this little wooden piece I found in March 2020. It was half price day, so I got it for 50 cents. I mean, it has good bones, you guys, but I just didn't know what to do with it. And this is some paper left over from the inside of some wrapping paper. So again, waste not, want not. It's super thick. If you find this instead of the cardboard roll inside wrapping paper, keep it because it makes great backings, really thick, like what's on a professional painting for the back of your crafts. This had some felt on it because I think it was a little drawer. I tried to scrape it off, but not enough came off, and I wanted it to look nice in the back, so I went ahead and covered it. And I'm using these paint sticks. I love these paint sticks because they don't have that little design at the top with the grooves, so you don't waste as much. You can just use the whole paint stick. And I'm just needing to trim a little tiny bit off because I'm going to be putting this inside the box. Now I'm not looking to do a shiplap where it's side by side, totally different look I'm going for here. I just want to do some stripes and add a little bit of character to this window box. I also think it's important to note that I did use the yellow hot wood glue for this part, just so that they don't pop off. You can find me on both Instagram and Pinterest. I went ahead and took my homemade chalk paint. If you want to know how I made that, the link will be down below in my description box, and I gave it 1 coat of paint. Now, if you don't have a shadow box, you can use a Dollar Tree one. You can glue several of Dollar Tree ones together and do another version of this craft. And you can also make the entire shadow box out of paint sticks. And if you watched my video, 10 awesome paint stick DIYs, I made a tray. I made so many different things out of paint sticks, crates. Very similar principle. If you need some tips, go check out that video. And now I'm using antique wax now in a blush brush. That is a blush brush. It's my favorite way to apply it. I got smart this time and I added some water to the wax so that it didn't skid. The glide factor is beautiful when you add a bit of water, and it dries super fast. So I much prefer it this way. Highly recommended method. It's 1 teaspoon wax to about a 1/4 teaspoon of water or more, depending on how you want it to glide and how thin you want it to be, but it worked great. Here's another one of those hoops. I just took the middle one out this time. It's the same hoop that I used in our first DIY, but this time I took one, the set, and I just took one of the little hoops, the part without the screw, for this wreath form. So I have a lot of them, so I thought I should start using them up. And I'm just wrapping it up with some Dollar Tree pine. After you're all done with that, you're going to need to give your little wreath a haircut. That's a good trick when you're dealing with cheap pine. It helps to trim it down. Flocking helps too. This is some eucalyptus I hunted down on Amazon again. If I find a deal that's better than the Dollar Tree and I feel it's better quality, I am going to pass it on to you guys. This is 3-pack. It's a 3-pack and they're 17 feet. So you just get a whopping amount. And here is the thing. You just pull them off. They just pluck right off. And for me, again, if you don't craft a lot, it's not going to be worth it. But for me, these are extraordinarily good deals. So I am going to pass it on in case we've got some mad crafters out there that are also looking for good treasure hunts. So I'm just taking some hot glue here and gluing this all over the top of that pine. And that's what we end up with. Next, I'm going to use these storage containers that you find in the office supply section at the Dollar Tree. They're 4 for $1, so they're a very good deal. You could easily dupe those with some little cans, though, if you wanted. And I'm going to use some of this paper from the Hobby Lobby shop. Now, you could also use wrapping paper for this, and I don't know why I didn't think of that at the time, because I actually have red and white striped wrapping paper, but touche. But these are so small that seriously, it won't matter what kind of paper that you glue in there. It doesn't have to be super high quality thick paper, but I'm using what I have. I also found these wood shapes at my last shopping trip. So cute, the little snowmen, and I'm going to paint their bodies white and their hats black. Now I want to keep these guys looking very old-fashioned and vintage, so I didn't want to go with a lot of color. The only pop of color we're going to do is the little carrot nose. The rest of him is just going to be black and white. And here's the tree I found at the Dollar Tree on my last haul. I wanted to show you guys. I didn't know they did this. They are rainbow colored when they illuminate, and they change colors. So I thought they were just white. So I just want to show you because I was surprised, in case some of you did not know that. And I'm taking the bottom of those same trees, wrapping them up with some of the Walmart twine, taking a little bit of flame there to burn off the extra hairs, and I'm using the stronger adhesive here, the yellow wood glue that glues plastic and metal and glass, and I'm going to glue these guys down in the center of those little tins. Now I did turn one vertical, little stripes, and one horizontal just to make it different. We're going to tie on my wreath with some ticking stripe ribbon that I got from Amazon. This one has a little bit of sparkle in it. It's perfect for Christmas. And then we're going to glue down the 2 Christmas trees inside this box along with the snowmen. And lastly, we're going to take this Dollar Tree Mary sign and glue it in the center of the wreath. I absolutely love this. It's a makeshift shadow box, but I think it came up gorgeous. Let me know what you guys think. I love the way this next DIY comes out. You're going to need a Dollar Tree charger plate, and I'm just going to take it and paint it white with my homemade chalk paint. Next, using some more of that nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel, I'm going to lightly paint the edges. I want to bring out these really pretty little bumps that they have. They have like little beads that are part of the plate, and I think that looks really decorative and pretty. It's just naturally there. So I just kind of tapped it out and softly put that on, and I'm sticking with a nutmeg brown because I think it's nice and warm, like cinnamon for the winter. It's just kind of a nice color. Now these were some picks from Walmart. Walmart had absolutely gorgeous winter picks. I had no idea. I went in there for something completely unrelated after Christmas and turned around and saw that, or maybe it was like a few days before Christmas, but it was after the Christmas rush, and I didn't expect to find that. I thought they would all be sold out, but they were flocked pieces of pine and really, really beautiful. And I was originally going to paint pine trees on this plate, and I decided to knock it up a notch and actually make a 3D version of that by using these little floral picks. I hope the camera picks them up because they are beautifully frosted, and you can see how I'm just cutting pieces of it. I kind of cut off the end of that thick plastic piece. It's really simple to do, and then I glue that fragile top little thin piece up at the center to cover that and make it look like a tall pine tree, leaving the thick part down below as the trunk. And I do that with two other small pieces too, and you can see that one's curved there, so I'm showing you I'm going to snip off little pieces right there to make this fit in the plate better, but you need to save those pieces if you decide to do this craft, because there's some bald spots that you have to fill in afterwards to make it look like a pine tree. So I'm just straightening it out there with some hot glue. It's that simple. And you're going to see me add those little pieces back in on both of the small little side trees there to fill them out and make them look like pine trees. Oh, and I forgot to mention the reason I was so excited about finding these picks is they were 97 cents. So like all we crafters do, we step back and look, and if it's missing something, we add it in. I decide to take some more of the nutmeg brown and give it a nice inner shadow, like a nice, I guess, border on the inside, because it was just missing something. It was a little bit too white, and that was it, and I think it came up so beautiful. So you're going to need a painted pizza pan, one of these square Dollar Tree signs, and a spare piece of wood. You can also cut that Dollar Tree sign out too from a spare piece of wood if you have it. And I'm just sanding a little bit here, and I'm going to paint both of those pieces black. Now I'm using hot wood glue, but when I read about the glue I bought, it claims it also glues down metal and glass. The link to the one I use is in the description box. Unfortunately, the last time I checked, it was sold out. But if you go to my Amazon store, I've listed another glue that's very comparable temporarily until that one comes back in stock. And if you don't have that or you can't get it, I recommend at least a high temperature glue gun or a strong industrial glue like an E6000, because you want this little guy's hat to stay on. I took a pencil and did a rough sketch of a face I was happy with. I just wanted a traditional little snowman's face. And then I go ahead and take a black painter's pen, fill in the eyes and the mouth, and then I took a permanent marker from the Dollar Tree in orange to trace the nose. I just find I stay in the lines a little bit better when I'm painting if I do a permanent marker first. I'm giving him some little pink cheeks because it's cold outside, and some snow on his hat. I just want to frost him up. If you picture a snowman on a really cold, frosty day, his little velvet hat is slouched, and I wanted to try and create those little wrinkles that would be in the hat, and then the frost that would happen from the cold weather. So I took a baby wipe here, and I'm just wiping this part to try to recreate the little wrinkles and slouches. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope you understand what I'm saying, just to recreate that little slouchy hat. Now I start with a bow here and I glue that on the top, but I do end up, it's just not working for me. So I end up taking that off. You'll see in a minute, but I love the ticking stripe ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that around the top of his hat. I decided to go with a snowflake that I got from the 99-cent only store. It's really pretty in real life. I hope you can see it on the camera. It sparkles and glits. It's a perfect snowflake. And that bow moves down to his neck. And I'm super happy with this, the way it came out. I end up taking a little bit of greenery with red berries. I put the little string back on the top of the Dollar Tree sign because the holes are already there. And then I decide to give him a little bit more personality by putting these little white marks in his eyes. And I think he came up so, so cute. Oh, this one was a great one. You're going to need to trace out some cardboard there with a round bowl and some kind of cylinder shape, a coffee can, something. I want to say, for those of you that remember when you were following me that year, that Christmas, I lost my craft room, and I have about 8 DIYs in this film that I was filming off of my daughter-in-law's iPhone on a table with a lamp. And I didn't know about I didn't know the lighting was going to affect the phone so much. The phone's completely different than a camera. And pretty much 10 of my DIYs were completely destroyed by overexposure. So please excuse the filming, but if you knew what I had to work with originally, I was so grateful that I was able to save these videos because these DIYs are so fun. So as you saw, I just glued those two cardboard pieces together, and now I'm gluing the cylinder shape on top. And that's it. If I had to do this craft again, I would have gone ahead and put some poster board or a cereal box on top of the cardboard, because in person when I was doing it, because the light was so bright in my face, I couldn't see the little lumps and bumps until I saw it in the video. See right there, you can see the cardboard. Now you don't see it in person because it's black and I have all these embellishments on it, but I just want to give you a heads up. If you want it smooth, put something on top of that. And now I'm using some spackling to fill in the sides of this little, we're making a hat in case you didn't guess. And of course I painted the whole thing black. And I just used acrylic paint. You can spray paint it. And of course, if you have black material, that would be really awesome too to cover this hat with. I didn't have it on hand at that time. I didn't have anything. That's why I'm crafting with trash here. I wanted to craft so bad for Christmas. Nothing was going to stop me. So I did. And then I just start putting embellishments on. I use this little gingham print ribbon here, and I end up doing 2 rows of it because it's not quite thick enough. And the other buffalo check one that I had was too thick. This was such a fun craft though. Oh my gosh, it came up so pretty. It's amazing what you can do with almost nothing when you're desperate. But I'm gluing some pine on now. You're going to see me embellish this with some beautiful decor. I'm leaving it in so you can see what I did, because so many people ask me to do that. They go, oh no, don't take that out. I need to see what you did to give me ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it in. So I do end up putting some snow on this using paint because I did not have any other craft supplies. But if you have salt, baking soda, fake snow, it would have just made it that much better. In total, I filmed about 3 days like this, not realizing, or I couldn't tell when I played it back on the phone, that they were overexposed and completely destroyed. And so some of them didn't even make this video, but I spent over 100 hours and I had to learn the advanced editing in my program for color correction and overexposure. They've got some amazing tools today to help you save your videos. If you ever have a video that's completely trash, don't give up. Look into editing programs and see if you can bring it back around again, give it some color, get the glare out of there, and just so people can actually see what the video is. But anyway, here it is. I really do hope this little iPhone 11 gives it justice, because it was an absolutely gorgeous craft in the end. Need a pizza pan, this free printable, and the link will be down below in my description box. I printed it up on tissue paper, cut it out, and Mod Podged it on. Now I went fast on that because you guys know how to do it, and I accidentally hit the autofocus button, so it was totally blurry. I didn't want to torture you longer than I had to. So now I'm taking a ruler and just drawing some shiplap lines on this with pencil first, and then with a Sharpie permanent marker in the color gray. For this border, I decided to go with some sisal rope and take the Dollar Tree red and white gingham print ribbon and wrap it around. Now you're going to see what I do here. I start off with a drop of hot glue at the top, and then I use 3 of those little clips that you can also get at the Dollar Tree to clamp it down and hold it in place. And I work in sections. I wrap the sisal rope up, and then I glue as I go. So I'm going to speed this up so you can see that I also move the clamps as I'm going as well, just to hold everything in place. But this comes up so pretty. I just wanted the feel of a candy cane with a little touch of farmhouse in there with the gingham print. I thought that was awesome, actually, and it came up much better than, it came out a lot better than what I thought when I envisioned it. I was like, ooh, that looks good. And again, I hope the camera picks it up. It's just a super, super cute look. And this is what we have so far. Look at that. Isn't that cute? So the next thing I'm going to do is make a messy bow. And somebody asked me if I had a video on this. And really, the most beautiful part of a messy bow is it's a very individualized piece of art. There is no rhyme or reason to it. You just cut up pieces of ribbon. You can dovetail the ends. You can cut them at an angle. You can leave them alone. You can alternate them in between each other, or just do big clumps of color or the same ribbon. Totally up to you, whatever look you're going for. I just put a bunch of ribbon together and some of that red raffia that I found at the Dollar Tree. I was so happy about that, and I'm putting some glue on it, and I'm gonna stick this baby down, and that's it. That's my messy bow. But there really is no specific way to make one. I think that's why they're called messy bows, because you can just use scraps of leftover ribbon and you can design it however you want. And when you're done, you saw how I just fluffed it out and I kept working with it till I got a shape that I'm happy with. That's it. That's a messy bow. Now those 2 floral pieces there, I ordered on Amazon, and they were a great deal. I have the link down below in the description box. They were $7.99 for 8. So they were $1 each, just like the Dollar Tree, but they are superior. They are so thick and so beautiful and vibrant in real life. I, again, hope the camera picks it up. Highly recommend you go check that out before they sell out with the holidays. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue some more greenery in the center. I'm going to add some more little red berries in the center. I use some thicker Walmart twine to glue a hanger on the back with a little bit of masking tape over the ends to help hold it in place. But I absolutely love this. Let me know what you think. This next DIY, you're going to need a Dollar Tree splatter screen and one of these Dollar Tree winter hats. So the first thing I had to do, of course, was remove this cardboard off of my splatter screen. And after that, I took my white chalk paint and I dry brushed it on, gave it 2 coats, and made this have like a really cool kind of hazy white glaze on it, or I'm not sure. It looks like at first when you hold up you think, oh no, it's not going white. It does go white, and it looks really, really good, especially in daylight. You can totally tell. This would be a perfect piece for if you did industrial farmhouse or modern farmhouse, because especially industrial, because industrial uses a lot of metal in its look. It uses metal shelves. It uses like metal chairs for dining room tables. This is just, it would be perfect. It's actually just a cute conversation piece, no matter what your decor is. I absolutely love the way this came out. If you haven't guessed already, we're making a little snowman. But you just take that Dollar Tree hat, glue it down, as you can see me doing here. I glued the little pom-pom on top of the rim. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use a permanent marker to draw a face on this cute little snowman. could certainly stop here if you wanted, depending on what your decor style is, but I'm finding I really love my snowmen with little rosy cheeks because they're supposed to be outside and cold, and I'm using the Dollar Tree lipstick to do this great trick. It's kind of a foolproof way to get rosy cheeks without getting too much or too little on. It gives you a lot of control. And lastly, I take a little bit of the chalk paint. I decide he needs some frost on his nose because he's supposed to be outside where it's cold. And I rub some paint on, and then I take a little baby wipe and just rub it off in areas to make it look a little bit more hazy. I guess a little bit more like how snow and ice would look if it blew on his nose and it froze and then melted and then froze. So that's the look we're going for. Now, to get his hat to stay up, I got these little craft sticks here off of Amazon. Unfortunately, Dollar Tree didn't get them in. I've been waiting forever and they just haven't gotten the larger craft sticks in, so I just went to Amazon for it. And I'm just gonna put some hot glue on it and insert it straight up into that hat and then glue it down and secure it down with hot glue to hold it in place. And since this is a winter DIY, I decided we need a little bit of pine so we can bring a little bit of the forest and outdoors to this snowman. So I just take a little bit of pine and glue it on there. And now I'm just using the Dollar Tree ribbon. It's the red one with the white snowflakes on. I'm gluing it on the back of him. I don't know if you can tell there because of it, it's kind of see-through, but I'm actually gluing it down on the back, and I'm going to glue that final loop on the top of the hat right where that craft stick is, and that way he can hang on the wall and stay straight up, and it's perfect. I absolutely love the way this guy came out. This next craft is a fun classic. You're going to need a base, some prints, and paper. I'm using a really thick roll. It's not like a paper towel roll, and I cut it down. So I take this little mailbox from the Dollar Tree, I spray paint it, and then I notice when I open it, it has these super cute little red stripes on, so I'm going to go ahead and leave those on. But I'm going to give it a second coat with my acrylic paint just to make it look, I'm going to be gluing paper on top of it, and I didn't want the previous designs. I don't know if you can see it on film right now, but you could see the other designs through it. So I'm just going to make it a little bit, a little better coverage there. And now I'm taking the candy cane stripe paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to be covering the center roll. This is a free printable from the Microsoft Clip Art. I chose this one, but if you go and you put Vintage Merry Christmas in the search on the Microsoft Clip Art, it'll pull up all kinds of really cute designs. So you can cover your mailbox with any one that you want, but I thought this one was cute for the look I was going for. And then I'm just measuring and cutting now this top little candy cane stripe paper because we're going to be covering the top with this paper. And we're covering both sides with the Merry Christmas print. Now, you can see what I did there. I just kind of cut it out to go around the little flag that comes up. I'm not too worried about it because by the time we're done distressing this, you're not even going to notice that. I do use Mod Podge to glue all of this paper down. This one is from Hobby Lobby as well. It's a music note paper. I think it's really pretty. It's in their scrapbook paper section for crafting. And lastly, I'm going to take this permanent marker in green and add those little stripes on my little door there. And I'm taking the furniture pen and distressing again. So this is just redecorating this little mailbox to make it look more like the style that I'm after. And here's how I make that flag disappear. I'm just going to be using some burnt umber and distressing in there, kind of like it chipped off, making it look like an old vintage mailbox. And lastly, we're going to cover the back with some red paint. And I didn't show it, but you can see where the seams meet, all the little papers and stuff. I did take some burnt umber paint and or the furniture pen and just distress that to make it look a bit antiqued. And I do decide to go ahead and paint that little red flag a darker red. And now I'm taking some ticking stripe ribbon that I found on Amazon. This one has a little bit of sparkle in it, so it's perfect for Christmas. We're going to tie it in the center and make a bow. And I'm using hot glue now just to do the bottom. Now again, this is a very lightweight craft, so my hot glue that I'm using is pretty strong. You can use Gorilla Glue. I also have a hot wood glue that I use that is made for all kinds of different materials, glass, metal. But if you want it to stay, hot glue should be fine, but you do have to use a higher quality hot glue. And I'm just going about decorating the little pole here because this is going to be Santa's little, it's a little mini decorated Christmas mailbox. I've seen these before. I've seen people make them and I absolutely love them. I don't have one. I bought the mailbox last year and I've been saving it all year to make this, but I can see they're out again this year. So if you missed it last year, you can get it this year. Using some of the pine picks and berries I got from Amazon, I'm just going to tuck it up in there. And again, use that little trick with the pen to cover up the berries if they are, you know how the berries are sometimes foam? You just take a little red pen to cover that up. And I'm going to add this little Christmas flower in the center of this bow. I also thought this little mailbox was missing something, so I'm taking the Dollar Tree wooden bead in red. And I'm gluing it on the front there so that it's a knob. I guess it's like a little knob on the front of the mailbox. And lastly, we're going to glue this on the top of the pole. And I'm absolutely loving the vintage look of the paper, the way it looks worn and distressed. I do decide to go ahead and add some snow on that little flag because it's supposed to be an outdoor mailbox up at the North Pole. But I love the way this came out. Let me know what you think. For this next DIY, you're going to need this Dollar Tree tray, which I was lucky enough to find on my last Shop With Me video. I was so excited because these don't often come to my Dollar Tree. And I also bought some of these plastic, I guess they're Christmas little buildings there for a village. And I found the bottle brush larger trees, and I bought 2 in green and 1 package in white. Was so excited about that too. That was a final shipment at my Dollar Tree for Christmas, so it pays to go back and check because they were a little late this year. And if you don't find it on the first round, you can often find it on the second round. So I'm just taking some of my chalk paint and giving this tray 1 coat of white paint. And then you're going to take some good old-fashioned baking soda while your paint is still wet and go ahead and give it a generous sprinkle. Now, this is a high-end dupe. I mean, I've seen this kind of craft before in higher-end stores, and I really wanted to try doing it myself. Baking soda looks just like real snow. I kid you not, you guys. It was amazing. Wait till you see when I hold it up. I mean, it looks like real snow. So if you're after the look of actual snow, this is the perfect trick. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take each one of those little plastic buildings and give them 1 coat of white chalk paint. And now to set my little winter village up, I go ahead and place the 3 buildings down on top of the tray. I organize my trees where I want them, add a little greenery, some white berries, pine. You can add anything you want. You're just making a little winter scene in a winter village. It makes a perfect centerpiece for a table, on a farmhouse console table, a shelf. I absolutely love the way this came out. this next DIY, I'm using a Dollar Tree mason jar, some paper, and this clip art copyright free printable. He's really cute, but he does have an American flag hanging off of him. So for my international viewers, I will leave a link down below in my description box to all of the vintage prints so that you can choose your own Santa. I'm starting off with a glue stick. It's just a Dollar Tree glue stick, but you have to be extremely generous and cover every last square inch of your surface. And I'm gluing this paper down. Now this paper is also going to be down in my description box. And I'm just taking and trimming the edge of the paper here, but it made me think about those of you that don't have the mason jars in your Dollar Tree, or my international viewers. I have done a mason craft before, a mason jar craft, and I just traced out the shape of the mason jar and used cardboard, and I recommend at least 2 layers so it doesn't bend. That's about the same thickness as the Dollar Tree sign. Maybe it's even a little thicker, but you can cover this mason jar with, old fabric or paper that's bigger and put little slits around the edge and then cover the edges that way. But the point is the mason jar crafts are perfect for duping it with cardboard because you can cover the edges. So I just took that music paper, which is from Hobby Lobby, burned the edges to make it look antiqued, cut my little Santa out there as close as I could to the edge. And I'm showing you here that if you miss some of the little fine edges there, it's super easy. You just lift it up and you can apply the glue stick and glue it down, and he sticks perfect. And now I'm taking some of the Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and I'm going to put that on the top for the lid. Now I'm using some of the Dollar Tree raffia that I found that's in like a deep burgundy red, and I'm tying it in a knot because I want to wrap this at the top of the mason jar, and it's just going to give it a little bit more for the hot glue to hang on to so that I can glue it nice and tight around the back side like this. And there you have it. That's what you get. So for me, it works better when I tie the raffia together. And now I'm using these Dollar Tree bows. I think they're so cute, these little buffalo check bows that I found on my last haul. And I'm going to go ahead and take the ticking striped ribbon. Now this is wire on the edge. I don't want the red border. I don't want the wire. I just want a completely different look. I'm just taking 2 pieces. I trimmed off the edge border there that was red, and I'm kind of gluing them crisscross over a little bit of raffia and then the buffalo check ribbon on the top. And then in the middle, I'm going to be gluing down the lace. Now I did the lace here because for some reason in real life it just looked too flat and plain, the little ribbon legs coming out, so I chose to put a little bit of ribbon there. And I have these 2 little mini pine cones off another craft that I use to embellish, and a little bit of greenery to cover the big blob of hot glue, but I think this is such a cute Christmas piece. For this DIY, the pizza pan, some paper of your choice, the Dollar Tree wooden Christmas tree, some of these mariachi beads, and some words. Now this is a printable I purchased last year and didn't use. I will leave the link down below in my description box. I think it was only like $2 though. But I am using the upside down side of the pizza pan for this DIY, and my glue stick because I definitely didn't want this paper to wrinkle. This paper was originally craft paper from Hobby Lobby I got last year. I glued it on the back of this pizza pan using a glue stick, and you do have to cover every little square inch of the pan, and then I just trimmed it with scissors because I'm going to cover the edge. Painted that tree with some white paint, and when it was dry I applied the printable, which I printed up on tissue paper that was taped onto cardstock paper. Great way to transfer. It's pretty much invisible when you put it down. You can't see it. I love it. It's my favorite way to transfer words at the moment. And now I'm taking the mariachi beads and I'm going to glue those around the edge of this tree. I'm going to use these decorative rhinestone stickers that I got at the 99-cent only store a few years back, but you can get things like this at the Dollar Tree all day long. And I'm going to glue them just sporadically here and there on the tree just to give it a little bit of character. I noticed the word trees online have designs in ink that do this, but I thought it would be pretty to do it with some rhinestones. And then I'm just going to take some hot glue here and glue the tree down on top of the tray. And this is what we have so far. It's so cute. With this craft, I decided to do 3 rows of the sisal rope. You'll see me doing that, and I'm showing you how I work it underneath the edge of the tree there. But I'm very careful with the first row of sisal rope to go right up against the edge of that paper so you can't see the uneven edges. And now I'm putting on my final 3rd row. Lastly, I'm going to hit it with some flame to take off those extra strands that are just a little too wild. And what I can't burn because it's too close to the paper, I just trim it with those clippers. Cuticle clippers are a great craft supply, you guys, a great crafting tool. If you don't have them, use an old pair. When you go buy a new pair, don't throw your old pair away. They are great for clipping off little thin, small things that you can't get to with scissors. And then I decide to go ahead and use some Dollar Tree ribbon to make bows at the top with the ribbon and the raffia. And then I add a little bit of green vine that I got at Walmart. This is my husband's favorite one. And again, I would love to know what you guys think. For this next DIY, you're going to need some material, this printable, a hoop, and some wooden beads. Here's the free printable. It will be down below in my description box. And it is off of the clip art from Microsoft. I just changed it up a little bit. So I trim it, and then I'm going to save 2 little strips there that I'm going to use for part of my bow at the very end. I'm using a little bit of hot glue. This was printed up on cardstock. It has really fine detail, so I chose cardstock because it is a smaller craft. You're not going to see it. But this would also look very pretty printed on fabric. If you have a printer that's designed for small details, that would be awesome. Looks good either way, so don't worry about it. The cardstock works fine. And when you glue your beads down, make sure you space them ahead of time and place them where you want to be, because you might run into a situation where you'll suddenly find you don't have enough room to stick the final bead in. I've had that happen, believe it or not. I think everybody has when they craft. So always plan ahead and space that out. So now we're using the Dollar Tree adhesive pearl wrap. This comes in little thin strips. They're little tiny pearls. And when you cut them off, you want to cut right up to the edge. They're attached by little plastic type threads. You can see I'm trimming them off there to get more off, because this is going to be a trim in a minute on this hoop, and I don't want any of those plastic threads. It should look pretty clean like this when you're done. And now I'm just taking and sticking them on the outer edge of the hoop. This part's totally optional, of course. I did need a little hot glue at the beginning and the ending to secure them, but other than that, they stuck just fine with their own adhesive. And this is what you should have so far. Now I'm leaving the screw at the bottom on purpose because I'm going to use that to tie the bow on the bottom. It's a perfect little anchor for that. And I'm going with a messy bow again. I'm really loving these. I just love that you can add so much variety into them and get like a vibe. I love that. So I did some Dollar Tree ribbon. The ticking stripe is from Etsy, and I also tied in some of those. Remember, I cut 2 little strips from the material, waste not, want not. I stuck that in there as well to tie it into the craft. Just tied it in the middle, and I'm going to tie it on the bottom of the screw. They really are that simple to do. And this time I chose not to dovetail the ends, not to do anything with the ends, because that's the look that I'm going for. I think that's why I like these so much, is because they're so individualized and kind of eclectic. You know what I mean? There's You can just make whatever energy you want with an accent piece. Although I absolutely adore the Dollar Tree items, they are not always the best deal. Check out these berries. They are so big and juicy and shiny looking and beautiful, like the camera doesn't do them justice. And I got 300 pieces for $9.98. I also got some pine because I was on the hunt for real pine and berries that looked real. I found some awesome pine on Amazon, same thing, 30 pieces, and they're as thick as what you see in that picture. They're not enlarging them. Look at the chunky. I'm using them right here. They're absolutely gorgeous and they look real, and that rivals the Dollar Tree prices. So for those of you that don't live by good Dollar Trees or don't live by any at all, there you go. Lastly, I'm going to take some twine that I twirled a little bit of hot glue on the end with, wait till the hot glue cools down of course, and put a beaded hanger on it, and I love this. For this craft, you're going to need this Dollar Tree little mini window, some Dollar Tree Christmas trees, and a winter scene of your choice. I found this under copyright-free images, and some wooden crates. Now, if you're really savvy, you could cut this window out of a foam board or cardboard even. I've shown you guys tricks on how to make cardboard look like wood using spackling or joint compound. If you're in the UK or international, I think you call it a multi-purpose filler or a polyfilla, I think. Polyfilla. And so that hopefully will help some people out there watching. You can do that as well. So if you don't have this little window, don't let it stop you. Just find a pattern online and go ahead and cut it out using a utility knife. But I saved this when I found it in spring. I saw it and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a quick coat of white paint. And now, taking these little plastic beads from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to go ahead and decorate my Dollar Tree wooden Christmas trees and make them look more festive. Now, I think some of you came on and said you call them Mardi Gras beads. On the West Coast, we call them mariachi beads. I have a feeling they've got a couple different names depending on where you live. But they're just those little plastic beads that you can find at the Dollar Tree. For my Dollar Trees, these are usually all year round as well. So again, you could substitute these Christmas trees using cardboard or foam board if you cover the edges with these beads. So I'm just kind of doing this. There's no rhyme and reason here. I just want to get it on the tree and make it have some texture and some more festivity. Next, I'm going to use some white paint and paint my Christmas trees. Now, when these dry, I actually end up getting a happy little surprise, which you'll see later. But first, we're going to take the wooden crates here, and we're going to paint them white and let those dry, set those aside. And now we're going to place that window down onto my winter scene where I'd like it to be, cut it out, and glue that on the back of the frame. So we have this right here. Now here's my happy accident, you guys. They dried and you can actually see the bead colors through, which I thought was pretty, and it picked up the colors in the print that I chose, so I left it. And I'm just spraying some of the Dollar Tree glue down so that I can sprinkle some of the Dollar Tree snow on top to make these look a little bit more holiday-ish. And I'm taking some burnt umber and distressing the beads just a little bit. And then I'm going to glue the trees on either side of the window. Once I've done that, I fill the little boxes up with some holiday florals. Nice little trick too, I just use a permanent red marker to tap on the berries if some of the red has chipped off and the foam is showing, but that's it. And I think this came up so pretty. you'll need 2 of the Dollar Tree little snowmen and some socks of your choice. Now I want to make this a couple here, so I need to take off those little wooden pieces. I used a utility blade for that. It took some time. If you go really slow, you can get it off, but definitely you have to go slow. If you have any tricks out there, if anyone knows how to get those off without using a blade, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. But I just kind of pried a sharp pointed utility knife under there slowly around the edge. I just kept moving really, really slow, and I popped the scarf off and I popped the nose off, and I even popped the hat part off, which I didn't really need to do, but at the time I had something else in mind, so I popped that off as well. And now I'm just taking, pencil, and I'm drawing a snowman's face and a snow lady's face. I hope that looks like a snow lady. Maybe these are just snow people. But I just made some cute little snow faces for snowmen. I decided to give my snowman a mouth as well. Instead of just filling it in all black, I thought it would be cute to do something different and give them little pink tongues. And now I'm just using some Dollar Tree lipstick. I thought this actually works better than paint for me. And I put some on my finger, and I'm just giving these guys some rosy cheeks. I did use permanent marker for the eyes, the black part that you see there, and I'm using a permanent marker in orange for the nose. And now I'm taking some red paint. It's apple barrel paint again, but you can use any brand, and I'm painting his scarf red and her scarf green. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some white polka dots to her scarf, and when I'm all done with that, I will add some little white stripes to his scarf. And that's what we have so far. So now you're going to take your Dollar Tree sock and stretch it around their head, and then spin it down and glue it kind of crunched up on the corner there so that it looks like a ball. And I'm taking the Dollar Tree pom-poms, and I use 4 of them to kind of make the look of a big pom-pom, although I think it looks cute separate too. It just adds a lot of little sparkle and cuteness. I didn't have any white yarn. If you have some yarn and you'd rather do that, you could make some pom-poms to put on the end of their hats. And I'm doing the same thing here, and I'm showing you how when you pull it over their heads, you kind of have to spin and roll it and hot glue it at the same time, and glue it under their face as well so it stays above their eyes. But when you're all done, it is so worth it. They are so, so cute. In fact, if I had to do this craft again, I probably would cut off the little round wooden part there. You see it where I had to twist it down and glue right there to make it look like the end of the pom-pom, the wood part. I think I may have made it maybe where their hats kind of stick straighter up a little bit and bend like in a little tiny triangle at the top. I might try this craft again next year because I had a lot of fun making it. And I just do the same thing with him. I just add the little red pom-poms. I'm going to glue them together because, of course, they're a snow couple. And instead of a flower, I decide to keep her in that little country look and just give her a little floral mini bow from ribbon in the red and white gingham print. And since all the flowers I had were too big for this little gal, I just tore out the center of a Christmas poinsettia, and I'm going to glue the gold sparkly little pieces in the center of the bow. Lastly, to make them stand up, I'm using more of the Dollar Tree wood, and I'm going to glue them down that way. And that's it. I think these are absolutely adorable. Let me know what you think. For this next DIY, you're going to need some cardboard, a template for a sleigh, and a Dollar Tree placemat, and a coat hanger. Now, I do end up switching that coat hanger to a black version of the same coat hanger, and we go from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out the template for the sleigh. I just Googled a sleigh drawing and then used one of the templates that I thought was pretty and put my paper up to the computer screen and traced it out from there. I didn't print it up. It's really easy to do, so you guys can pick whatever sleigh pattern you want. And then I trace it out on this cardboard. I'm going to do it on 2 pieces of cardboard. I put them together at the very end and cut and trim just to make sure they're identical sizes. Next, I'm going to use a cereal box. This is the inside of the cereal box, and I'm going to trace another piece out to glue on top of this to make it nice and smooth on the surface. You can use poster board for this. You can even use, a Kleenex box. I mean, anything that is nice and smooth like that, just to smooth the surface out, works perfect. You can do it all for free if you want. And I'm just going to glue the top of that onto the cardboard. See how it's wrinkled there, and that solves the problem. You just glue the smooth side down and voila, you have a nice smooth sleigh. Next, I'm going to take the Dollar Tree placemat and just cut it along the edges to separate it. There's 2 pieces of material there, a red one and then the Christmas print one. And I'm going to use the red one and a yellow chalk marker and trace around the sleigh a little bit bigger than the sleigh, because we have to wrap this around the sleigh, so make sure you allow for that. I think I left about a 1/4 inch seam around there, and I just roughly traced, but there was definitely enough that I could bend it over, which you'll see me do in a minute. And after I Mod Podge it down onto the smooth side, I put little slits all around and hot glue that down to cover the edges of the cardboard. And of course our sleigh needs an inside as well, so I'm using the other side of the Dollar Tree placemat. Another look I thought would be totally cute is to use those little, I think they're microfiber cloths in the auto section of the Dollar Tree. They're white and they're really fluffy and soft. That would also make a super cute inside of the sleigh. But we're going to work with this because I thought this was super pretty too. So I traced 2 of those out. Don't forget to do them in opposite directions so that you can have them, make sure you just don't do it the same direction, otherwise it'll be reversed when you go to glue it down. And lastly, I just cut a strip of cardboard and I glue some of that material on that to make the center of our sleigh. And you can see what I'm doing here. After I glue the cloth on top of it, you're not really going to see this, so I wasn't too picky about it, and you don't need to be either, but you just glue it down and then you're going to add extra glue around the edges here to hold it into place. Once you have it in place, go ahead and glue the other side of your sleigh on. I then took a hack saw and I cut 2 coat hangers on the end. And these 4 pieces here, they're about 1 inch long and they're not totally flat, so I just take the sanding block from the Dollar Tree and I sand them nice and flat. But you do need 2 coat hangers because if you cut them in the middle, then it's too short and stubby. So I did discover that, and I cut the part which is the tail end of the coat hanger, not the handle. It would be the part where your sleeve would be hanging on. That curvature is where it's a curve you see right there that I cut to make the bottom of the sleigh. Now I'm just going to glue each one of those 4 pieces onto those like that. And I'm checking to make sure they're nice and even. And of course, I'm going to glue that onto the bottom of the sleigh. Lastly, you just need to reinforce that a little bit with a little bit of hot glue around the outer edge. So since the sleigh hangs over the bottom a little bit, you can't see that glue where you reinforce it at all. And because I decide I want my sleigh to look like wood, I go ahead and add some apple barrel red paint. You can add any brand red paint you want, but the important thing here is that you're using a brush that has kind of the thick nylon bristles because you want to get those nice strong bristle marks, the brush strokes in there, and that's going to give your sleigh, as you can see, a nice look of faux wood. After that, I take the color Burnt Umber from Apple Barrel Paint and I go ahead and distress my sleigh a little bit. I even add it to the sleigh little legs there. I don't know if those are called blades. I can't remember exactly what those are called right now, but I just basically distressed the whole little thing because my decor is distressed, so that's the look that I want. I want it to look a little antiqued, and we end up with this super cute antiqued Santa sleigh, and I fill it with Christmas florals. You can fill it with anything you want, but I absolutely love this. For this next craft, you're going to need a star pattern, some brown paper, and some material of your choice. Now, this is a primitive star pattern that I found online. You just Google primitive star. I think they're so cute, so I chose the primitive star look. And there's a bunch of crafts on Pinterest called brown paper bag crafts, and I've been seeing them all over, and I just thought they would be fun to have go at. So I only had the brown paper on a roll. This is supposed to be a brown paper bag, so I end up taking some cardboard here and gluing my star on top of the cardboard. You can go ahead and substitute this with material if you'd prefer. I wanted to try it with the brown paper. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue some polyfiber fill on the top. I decide to cut the star a little bit bigger because I'm going to allow for a seam on the side just so it's puffy, because this star is supposed to be really puffy and have cute personality. So we're just trimming the paper around a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to wrap that around the edge of the cardboard on the back. For those of you that watch my channel, I love to take the Dollar Tree pine and give it a haircut and flock it a little bit. It really takes it up a notch and makes it look much more expensive. And we're going to be outlining this cute little star with the Dollar Tree pine. So this is what your little star should look like so far. It just has this real primitive look. If you're not familiar with primitive crafts, go ahead and give that a Google search and it will give you a good idea about the look I'm trying to achieve here. It is, as it suggests in the name, very primitive. I love that look. I think it blends in with farmhouse, and I thought it would be fun just to add one into my decor. So I'm taking and making a little pocket out of burlap, and I frayed it a little bit on the edge, and now I'm using some material that I got from Amazon. All of my supplies will be down below in the description box. And I'm going to glue that on the front here and add a little button. Next, I'm going to take these wood stars that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use one of the furniture pens you also get at the Dollar Tree in the color walnut, and you just tap it along the edge and it kind of drips or runs into the wood grain and gives it a really neat distressed look. I showed it in a previous video, and I'm going to go ahead and distress the rest of the craft using the pen as well. You'll see how well that works, but I do want it a little bit more distressed, so I'm just dry brushing with a little bit of burnt umber from Apple Barrel paint. And lastly, I'm going to take some white paint now and dry brush it onto the front to give it a nice frosty look. Using some floral picks I got off of Amazon. Again, it's down below in my description box if you're interested. I'm going to go ahead and start filling up that little pocket with Christmas, embellishments and florals and this little snowman, which I also got from the Dollar Tree, and just make a really cute little front piece. I don't know how to describe that. I guess it's just a cloth pocket full of fun little Christmas decor embellishments. And that's pretty much it for this craft. I think this would be so cute leaning up on an entry table or on a shelf or hutch. It's just another little accent piece for Christmas time. For this next DIY, you're going to need the Dollar Tree Christmas tree form. And you could also just make it out of poster board if you want to get a cone shape or a foam cone shape. Any cone shape would work for this. This is actually my daughter's favorite DIY. She loves this. So I start off by taking all of the garland off, and that's what you end up with. And I decide to go ahead and paint it white because for what I'm going to do, I kind of can, foresee that if there's some peekaboo areas, it's going to be, not noticeable if we paint it white and very noticeable if we don't. So I start off with my chalk paint again, paint it white. And now I'm going to use the Dollar Tree mop heads, and you clip those off. They've made them better quality, which is the good news. The bad news is I'm finding them harder to clip off. The little plastic piece in there, I really had to really work it to get it off, but it came off. And I tie 3 of them together. So I start off by tying them at the top with a knot there. So there's a little bit hanging on the top because that's going to be the top of my tree. And then I braid them with 3. And I want to do, well, you'll see, I do an even 4 of these on either side. So I do 1 on one side, then the opposite side, and then on the sides, I do the exact same thing. So we have that frame to start with. On the opposite sides, I don't have that long plastic piece running down, so you saw I just added a little bit of glue on the middle circles there to hold it in place. So after I start off with that 4-point frame, I want to fill it in, but I want to do it with different sizes. I don't want to do just the thin braid because real sweaters kind of look more knotty and they have texture around the arms. There's seams that might have a different knit or stitch. So I wanted that look. So I end up taking 2 of the yarn threads, gluing them together, and then gluing 3 of those together for a total of 6 strands altogether. But you can see I'm grabbing 2 of them at a time now and braiding them because I want a much chunkier knit. So here comes the important part of this tutorial. You can't go all the way to the top because it would be too thick. So you go as high as you can, and you're pinching the top of your little braid together and kind of spreading the other pieces apart, gluing the sides with the hot glue like you saw me do. I guess that's why we film it. So some things you can't explain, you definitely have to see it. And you'll see how I'm just gently manipulating it to disappear into the other threads. I'm pushing it over to straighten it. I'm just taking my time and gluing on the plastic on the side of the yarn. It's all designed to hold it in place and make it look like a solid unit. And when I'm all done filling everything in, I just go around and look for any areas where there might be a bigger hole, add a little bit of glue, stretch the yarn out a little bit, pinch it together. Again, really easy to manipulate the yarn thread because it is bulky and kind of stretchy and puffy, and so you can loosen your braids gently. Just be gentle with everything. I wasn't too hysterical about, if there's little holes here and there because that's what a real sweater is. I just wanted most of it glued together to add stability and obviously to make it look like it's more solid. And you just have to be, again, really, really gentle with everything. And you can manipulate the thread. You can loosen the braids really gently to make everything come together that way. So now I'm just taking and cutting the top of the tree to give it a little haircut and make it nice and even, and that's it. I think this is so cute. This is a fun one. You're going to need a pizza pan and some cellophane. And again, I bought the cellophane on Amazon. You can get it anywhere. I'll leave the link down below in the description box for the one that I used. And I'm just taking a ruler, drawing some designs on there because we're going to be making some of that little Christmas candy. And I'm taking one of the Dollar Tree permanent markers. It's a super thick, chunky one. And I'm drawing my little borders. Again, I just feel more comfortable when I have the thicker borders from a permanent marker when I paint, so I don't go outside of the lines. This does require 2 coats, so this is my second coat here, and it's still a little bit wet for my next step, but I want it to be because I'm going to go ahead and take some of the Dollar Tree spray adhesive and some of the Dollar Tree fake snow. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It's perfect for this craft, but it's just enough sparkle without being actual glitter, although you could use glitter. But I just thought this almost made the candy look frosty and pretty and just added that little bit of Christmas sparkle, which is so pretty. And I'm just using the adhesive because I don't want it covered all over the place, and it's just a super easy way to get an uneven application of adhesive so you can do this type of thing. So I spray it, sprinkle it on, and I'm going to shake it off, and you'll see the end results. We just have a little bit of snow left behind. Perfect. So I set that aside to dry, and when it's dry, I take the cellophane and I'm going to cut out 2 pieces the same size and put one underneath the pan and one on top of the pan. And then I just use my hot glue gun. You can see me doing it right there on the edge to glue those together on the edges. And you won't see that when you're done, so you'll see in a minute. I fold it over just like you're hemming a skirt or a pair of trousers. You just fold it over and then glue the fold over all the way down those edges as well, and that creates a nice tight pull on the front of the candy and hides where you glued. Now I do want to say I originally planned on painting the back side of this for the candy. I think it would actually look better because it would be rounded, kind of like a candy looks in the front. And I ended up I changed my mind and did another craft, and I grabbed another one of the pans. So all I had left was this pan, but it still looks really, really good. But I just wondered if it would fill out the top a little bit better, the cellophane a little bit better, so it's not loose in the front like that if it was a bit bulky, because on the back it's really tight. So if one of you guys try it, please let me know how it works out. But I just pull it together until it's even, tie it with a bit of twine, and then I choose this ribbon, which is perfect for candy. I'm thinking Santa's Village here, Candyland. And I choose this ribbon. One's from the Dollar Tree, and the other one I ordered on Amazon. It's a ticking stripe ribbon, but it actually has a little bit of sparkle in it. Perfect for Christmas time. And I make 2 messy bows, and then I'm just going to fluff them out and tie them on the ends. So for those of you that keep up with my channel, you'll know I was just at the Dollar Tree, and of course I forgot the white nautical rope. I thought I had tons of it, so I have to go back to the Dollar Tree, which is fun. But I end up using this brown nautical rope here temporarily, just until I have a chance to get the white one, because I actually think the white one looks like a sash that Santa would tie his sack with, and it just kind of goes better with this whole candy theme and Santa's Village. So I'm going to change it out later, but I think it came up really, really cute. I absolutely love this. It's super cute for a front door hanger. You could make tons of these and put them outside because they're weatherproof. Let me know what you guys think. For For this next craft, you're going to need this Dollar Tree house sign, this Dollar Tree flannel tablecloth, and this burlap wine bag, also from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to start with removing this little wreath on the front. It's just this little small, crunchy, cheap wreath. And of course, that's not going to work if you want to lay it down flat or hang it up anywhere, so that comes off. The next thing we're going to do is make a template. I'm just using some butcher paper here. You can use any paper you want. And I'm just tracing the inside of the house. And of course, after that, we're going to go ahead and cut that out. And we're going to go ahead and cut out a piece of the flannel tablecloth as well. If you'd like to go ahead and use the front of this sign by removing the paper, you can soak it or spray it with a bit of water and leave it for a bit and then peel it off. You can. I just went ahead and used the back, but I did want those rooftop pieces, so I went ahead and took them off, and as you can see, they were easy enough to remove. I then took the staples out, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it one coat of the white chalk paint. I'm also going to paint the little roof pieces white as well. Next, I'm going to use this ruler and put some faux shiplap lines on this house. I always think that's such a cute classic look. I like them a little uneven. I think that looks a little bit, I guess, more rustic or natural, and so I did that. And I'm also going to cut out the bag that I got, the wine bag. I'm just cutting it on either side. I'm leaving the biggest part of the sides and the front, and I'm taking some watered down burnt umber paint from Apple Barrel Paint, and I'm just going to stain the rooftop pieces there and then reattach them to my sign. Originally, I was going to use the entire piece of the flannel cloth to cover the entire front of the house, and I just felt like that was going to be a little too busy, so as you saw, I went with the shiplap lines. So I just cut the triangle off the top of that template, and I'm tracing it down onto the flannel tablecloth and cutting it out. Next, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree glue stick. I love glue sticks for applying simple things. It kind of guarantees a no bump and lump finish because it's a nice dry glue. It's the moisture that brings those lumps. So the drier glue you use, the better results you're going to end up with. And I just glue it on the top there. And then I'm going to wrap the sign, well, not the sign, I'm sorry, the little wine bag. It's perfect for this craft, by the way, and it's super good quality. If you come across those wine bags, make sure you pick one up because they're actually lined and they're super thick, and they would make great wine bags to use for actual wine bags, but they make a great gunny sack type look, perfect for this craft. I just cut one side off, it was the back side, and I wrap it around and glue it, and now I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of the Dollar Tree gingham print ribbon in red and white. And now I'm just going to start filling that little pocket up with some pine that I got from Amazon. The link is down below in my description box if you're interested in getting that pine. And I'm just going to fill it with some different kinds of pines. So I have like a different version there, just giving it different Christmas garnishes and a pine cone. And I decided to take one of the Dollar Tree bells, it's the gold bell, and just tap on some white paint. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to look a little rustic, particularly at Christmas time. I love the rustic distress look. I think it's so pretty. And I'm taking some little holly leaves there. I'm gluing them down, and as you saw, I kind of wrinkled them up and glued them into place so they looked nice and flowing. And I glue the bell in the middle, and that's it. And I think this came out absolutely adorable. DIY, we are back to the baby can formula here, and the same thing. I take the label off, again the white chalk paint acting like a primer, And this time we're going to go ahead and paint this can black. And the camera lighting makes that look streaky, but actually in person it looks like it's solid black. So make sure you know, yours looks solid. You can leave it streaky if you want, but mine is more of a solid black. And these are the Dollar Tree little pot holders here. And again, perfect quick thing to grab for a craft. I'm just taking some sharp scissors and I'm going to remove the front piece. And I don't want mine to be perfectly even. I prefer my labels to be a little uneven on purpose. You can leave yours even if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and cut around kind of like little arches and curves just to make this have a little bit of an uneven shape. Since I am using cloth for this DIY, I am going to use Mod Podge. You do need Mod Podge for cloth because it does need to kind of soak through the fibers in order for it to hold it down nice and flat. And I'm very generous with the Mod Podge. I put a couple huge drips on there. I'm going to go for it again just to make sure, because the material off of those pot holders is kind of thick, and I want to make sure it goes all the way through to the front side of the material. And I'm just going to go ahead and smooth that out and then glue the piece of cloth down. Now, a little trick that I've done for years is, because you apply the Mod Podge super thick on the front, when you push the material down, it kind of soaks through several layers of the fiber, but without going through to the front. That way you maintain a cloth look, which I prefer. You can seal it in if you want to, that's fine, but I've always found that works just fine. And I went ahead and I just tapped the edges with the Mod Podge just to make sure those stay down and secure in place. When it's dry, I take some black paint and I'm just tapping it around the edges to mute and soften them. And this is how my project turns out. This craft, you're going to need a Dollar Tree cookie tray, a gingerbread man, and I'm taking this chalk paint and I'm going to go ahead and give the cookie tray one coat. This is a craft I have been wanting to do since last year. I was so excited because it's kind of a play on baking your gingerbread cookies in a cookie, on a cookie sheet in the oven, but it makes a super cute home decor piece. So I'm trying to remove the buttons off of this because unfortunately one of the buttons was crooked, and as you can see, it took some of the wood with it. So, I tried to fix it here with a little bit of the Dollar Tree spackling, but unfortunately, you'll see in a minute, it just wasn't cutting it. You still could see all the lumps and bumps. But I go ahead and I fill in the top little hole at the top of this gingerbread man. And then my son, bless his heart, he comes to the rescue with a special tool and he takes everything off of the front so that I can turn the gingerbread man around and do the back side. So I just watered down some of the burnt umber from apple barrel paint, and I did a light stain, and now I'm replacing the wooden pieces on the front of the gingerbread man. I start off by doing everything in pencil first, just to make sure it's nice and even. And then I take white paint and make the eyes and the nose. But I was going to go ahead and make the eyes where they're white with the little black pupils, that kind of look, but it just didn't end up looking that good. So I changed my mind after looking at some photos online of gingerbread men and made the eyes black and the nose black. And then I gave him a cute little red mouth. And I paint the buttons with a Christmas green from apple barrel paint. I decide to go ahead and make his little cuffs white with the white chalk paint, and then I take a white chalk pen and I put those little squiggles that you see on gingerbread men on the head. You'll see it in a minute here. I don't know if they're called squiggles, maybe loops. That might be a better description loops. I do these little loops on the top of his head because I thought that looked really cute. And lastly, I take this pink little chalk pen here and make him have little rosy cheeks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use this Dollar Tree wood like a ruler and draw some faux shiplap lines onto the cookie sheet. Using burnt umber from Apple Barrel Paint, I'm doing a light dry brush to make it have a wood grain look. And lastly, I decide to do some super cute little candy cane red stripes along the border of the cookie tray. Using the Dollar Tree ribbon in the gingham print in red and white, I go ahead and make a little bow for his neck. Now this did come with a wooden bow for those of you that noticed, and of course it got broken there when my son removed it. It couldn't be avoided, but I actually like the cloth bow better, so it all worked out. And I am using Gorilla Glue here to glue this guy down for a permanent hold. I love this craft. I think this is a great play on baking gingerbread in the oven, and it just makes a super cute Christmas wall hanging. Let me know what you guys think. For this next craft, I start off with this autumn Dollar Tree sign and this really cute gift bag that I also found at the Dollar Tree. Now the paper came off of that sign really easy, as you can see, so I go ahead and use the side that already has the twine as a hanger. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out this image kind of unevenly to make it look, I just like that look. You can leave it even if you want. It's a little bit bigger than the sign, but I just feel like it looks better when the edges are a little uneven. Sometimes I wet it, but the gift bag was a little bit too thick, so I just went ahead and cut it, and it looked just fine. And I'm taking my chalk paint and just cutting the edges there to make it white. And I'm using Mod Podge to glue it down. And that's it. We're just going to do a nice thick coat of Mod Podge all over the board, and we're going to apply the image onto the front of the board. Now I'm keeping the image to the left-hand side. I'm doing that on purpose because I'm planning on putting some florals around the right-hand side. I actually saw this online. It's a well, it's kind of a Pinterest-inspired craft a little bit, I guess, because it's a different image, but I just thought it looked so pretty to have the florals on the right-hand side of the photo. I've never done that before, and I thought it would be fun to try. This is also Dollar Tree ribbon here in buffalo plaid in red and black. We're making a floral bow, and I'm using some pine that I got from Amazon. The link is down below in my description box. I bought some more of it, and I'm going to apply that on either side. We're going to put some of the Dollar Tree pine in the middle, and we're just going to do some embellishment onto the front of that bow and around the edge of this sign. One of my favorite things to do is use a red pen to cover up any foam showing if you're using foam berries. And I'm just slipping those in there. I'm also going to take some holly leaves. You'll see me tuck them on the side there just for a little bit more Christmassy embellishment. And I'm going to use the color Burnt Umber from Apple Barrel Paint to distress the edge of this sign. So I'm just going along lightly there with the brush, and you'll see me rub my finger over the edge. That's a great way to blur the distressing and give it a really soft look, which looks really good. I think this came up so cute. It would look so cute on a farmhouse hutch or on a mantle. going to need this Dollar Tree sleigh and this free printable that I designed. And I'm just giving the sleigh one coat of white chalk paint. Now I did put a puddle of water on top of the label for about 5 minutes. I just let it sit there and the label peeled right off, no problem. And I removed the little sleigh legs and the top of the sleigh as well, and I'm giving them all one coat of white chalk paint. Now the transfer method that I favor totally right now is the tissue paper method. And some of you came on and asked me, is that tissue paper that you would wrap gifts with? Yes, that is exactly what this is, just tissue paper that you would put in a gift bag or in a gift. It's perfect, and you use cardstock. You tape it down to the cardstock. It's that simple, and you lay it face down and put it through your printer and print whatever you want on it. And it's so transparent when you take it off and you glue it down that it's barely noticeable. It's less noticeable than the vinyl on a Cricut. It's amazing. I think it's a genius way to transfer words. And you're a little limited maybe because you have to kind of stay within the size of the paper. Unless you have a printer where you're going to do like the paper's on a roll and you want to do a long strip, you could theoretically cut a long strip of tissue paper and do it that way, but it's just a fantastic way to transfer. So after I glue it down with a glue stick, my other favorite method to glue things down is the glue stick, I'm now taking a little bit of antique wax and a baby wipe, and I'm just kind of aging and distressing my sleigh. Now I went ahead and did the little sleigh legs, the wood color. Now I'm just doing the top. This is going to be covered, but I still kind of wanted to give it a little bit of character, so I'm just kind of here and there adding streaks, taking the baby wipe, wiping it off, and now I'm going to go around the edge of the sleigh. And now I'm taking some apple barrel acrylic paint in the color Elephant Gray, and I'm just going to gently dry brush on the elephant gray all over this sleigh just to make it look a little bit more like natural wood. Now I'm taking a little bit of black paint. This is actually black paint from the Dollar Tree. I'm not too picky when it comes to black paint, and you guys shouldn't be either. It's a very strong pigment, so it's not too critical on the brand. You're pretty, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get consistent results with just black. It's not going to have any color changes or problems with transparency because it's such a strong pigment. So I'm just taking the black and going around the edge of the entire sleigh to make it look older and distressed. And now I'm gluing back the little sleigh legs, and I'm going to glue the front back on, and then we're going to go about decorating the top of this sleigh. So I'm just taking some sprigs or picks from Amazon of pine. This is absolutely gorgeous pine. If you're interested, the link is down below in my description box. And a little bit of the burlap left over from a previous craft. I got a wine bag from the Dollar Tree that had some really good quality burlap on it. I'm just fraying the edges a little bit. And you're going to see me tie some bells down with what appears to be the jute twine, but the jute twine has been out of stock at my Dollar Tree forever. So you just take the nautical rope, pull it apart. It comes apart in many, many little pieces, and it imitates the jute twine perfectly, and it's perfect for hanging these kind of things onto your crafts. I'm just going to secure the knots with a little bit of hot glue, glue the bells on, top it with a pine cone at the top to hold everything down like that, and that's it. Of course, you'll never guess what we need. And this is found in the Halloween section at the Dollar Tree. If you go now, you'll probably still find one. And this is a free printable. I Googled Vintage Angel from the clip art, Microsoft Clip Art, and I will leave the link down below in my description box. Now I'm using a green paint here, and I'm just going to paint it on regular, and then I take a drier brush when it's a little bit dry, and I kind of purposely try and scratch it off because obviously Vintage Angel, I want the whole thing to look vintage. I'm using this water-based stain, which I've spoken about. It's odorless. I love this stuff. The link is down below my description box again, and you just kind of brush it on, and it gives a nice faux wood look, which I just thought was so pretty with the green. I wanted to do something different too. I just thought the green would be a really nice change for the pizza pan crafts. So I did the cardstock again, tissue paper again, love it, love it, love it, glue stick again, and I glued half of her down first and then the other half afterwards. I'm finding that's a really great method when you're working with the tissue paper, just to work with half at a time, and you don't, tear it. You just have a chance to kind of work the wrinkles out. I chose an angel because they're just so universal, and I thought it would be fun to do something different. So I grabbed these pens on my last haul. They're furniture, little markers that kind of fix up furniture. I've actually used this on real wood before on furniture, and they work wonderful if you have a match. And I'm using the dark walnut color, and I'm showing you how it just bleeds into the wood. It gave it such a cool effect. So I had a lot of fun. I kept doing that because I just thought that was so neat looking. And then I take my little craft knife again from the Dollar Tree, and I cut the paper out of those grooves there because I want those to show. And we're going to go ahead and glue this down in the center of the pan. You can follow me on both Instagram and Pinterest. Now I'm taking the nautical rope and gluing it on the inside of this pan. This was all premeditated, you guys. I wanted like a wooden frame and nautical rope on the inside. We're keeping it vintage looking here. That kind of goes again with, farmhouse is vintage. We do a lot of distressing and making things look old. So I just thought it would be fun to do kind of an old vintage, craft with a pizza pan. So I'm taking the ticking striped ribbon and I'm going to glue it down, and the ends there, you'll see what I do. I'm going to tack them down so that they look like they're flowing on the outer edges of the pan on either side. Then I just add a little bit of the pine that I ordered from Amazon. That's how thick it is. I cut one off right there and put it down in the middle. And I made another messy bow with just a variety of the green ribbon, the ticking stripe ribbon, the raffia, and some of the lace this time. And then that holly right there really is vintage. That belonged to my mother-in-law, and that came from the 1950s. And I thought that would be so awesome to put it on the pan. And I'm showing you again how neat that pen is. How I go back, so I thought it needed a little more, but looking back, you can even put some of the Spanish moss on top. I chose to put it on the bottom, but I think, I didn't want to go crazy with it, but I think it would also look pretty, just a very, very thin row on top of this as well. But when it was all done, it was absolutely gorgeous. For this first DIY, we're going to be using the Enfamil baby formula can. Again, any cylinder shape will work for these crafts. Coffee cans, big hot cocoa cans. If you live near a super size quantity store like a Costco or a Smart & Final, you just walk up and down there. You'll find a lot of different containers that would work for this craft. And I give every single one of these containers a coat of white chalk paint first, and then after that I use acrylic paint. So here I mixed burnt umber and white together to make a nice creamy mocha color. And this is a free printable down below in my description box. Now for those of you wondering where the description box is, on a PC you click See More and a drop-down menu will appear. If you're on a tablet or a cell phone, there's a little gray arrow in the upper right-hand corner. You click that and a drop-down menu will appear as well. This is where all of my links to all of today's free printables are. So I went ahead and cut it out, and now I'm applying a glue stick to apply this label. Now because this cylinder is flat, and it doesn't have any grooves. You can use a dry glue like a glue stick to apply, and it works great because it won't wrinkle or buckle. If you're using a coffee can or any kind of can that has those grooves, you're going to want to stick with the Mod Podge so that your paper does get a little bit wet and it will take shape with those grooves. I'm applying a little bit of the Burnt Umber by Apple Barrel Paint here to distress it. You can skip this part if you want, but I love that look, and I think that this came out so cute. For this next one, you're going to need a jar, some fake snow, and some Epsom salt. I just took some of the Dollar Tree snow and some Epsom salt on top. I did it on top to hold it down because the snow is kind of fluffy and staticky. Same reason I used 2 applesauce cups, you guys. That Dollar Tree snow sticks everywhere, and I wanted to be able to throw the containers away afterwards, so I just used 2 applesauce cups to shake it and mix it. And some Mod Podge, and I did about a 50-50 mix there with the Epsom salt and the snow, maybe a tiny bit more snow than Epsom salt. Now this craft has been around for a while. I've seen it on Pinterest for at least 2 Christmases. They usually do it with glitter and Epsom salt, which looks absolutely gorgeous too, but I've never got around to making it, and I want one of these, but I thought it would be fun to try it with some of this fake Dollar Tree snow and to share it with you all so you can see how that version turns out. Now it does end up looking like crystals. It's absolutely gorgeous actually. So do not hesitate to get some of the Dollar Tree snow and do this craft. I think I might like it a little bit more than the glitter one. But anyway, I'm just showing you how simple it is. If you find you miss a spot, it's that simple, no stress to fix it. And then after this is dry, I go ahead and take some of the Walmart twine because it's a little thicker. You can use the Dollar Tree twine. That's fine. That will work too. But I go ahead and cover the top of the jar. I saw this on Pinterest again, so this is my inspiration. I'm kind of copying what I saw. I loved the look. I made a twine bow out of the Dollar Tree twine, and then I'm tying 2 little pieces of greenery on the top of it. Now, I don't know why I didn't glue the greenery down. I think I was worried it might resist staying down, so I tied it on there to make sure that it stays with the bow down on the twine, and then I press really hard. And again, here are those beautiful berries. I used those for the berries on here, just 3 of them, and that's pretty much it. This is a beautiful holiday luminary. I did have to spray it twice with a clear varnish so that the little pieces don't fall off. I tried hairspray, you guys. It wasn't working, so you definitely have to use a little bit of varnish on this one. And I'm just taking some greenery to hide the glue again so it looks more expensive. And that's it. It came up so pretty. For this next craft, you're going to need this Dollar Tree jar and this free printable that's down below in my description box. Just click the link and it will take you right to it. And I'm giving this jar 1 coat of the white chalk paint from Folk Art. Now for this next part, I'm actually leaving this video clip in to show how it's tiling. See it right there? The file actually corrupted while I was editing, but all I did in this clip was super easy. I just painted every other one of those little beveled edges there with the red stripe to do a candy cane striped look, and then I just cut out the gingerbread house and Mod Podged it on. So most of you know how to do that, so sorry about that, but it was just too difficult to look at there and it wasn't much help. Now I did print the gingerbread house out on tissue paper, gift tissue paper, just like you wrap presents with. It's super thin. It's one of my favorite way to do transfers right now. It's thinner than vinyl. It just kind of disappears into your craft. You just tape it on cardstock, put it face down, put it through your printer. It's that simple. Now I did leave the front of this jar white because the tissue paper is so transparent. You would have seen the red stripes through it. So I'm now painting the red stripes around the front of that gingerbread house. I even went ahead and painted the top little edge there. I don't know if you can tell, there's like a little ribbed edge at the top. I went ahead and painted that red as well. And that's what we have so far. Now the next morning I go ahead and take some of the white chalk paint. I'm just touching up any little areas where I went over with the red. And I'm going to decorate the top of this lid. That is what makes this craft so cute in my opinion. I use holly, I use pine, all kinds of different kinds of pine, berries, a bell, and it comes up so cute. I even put some little ribbon in there, you know, a little bow. You'll see me tying it right here. But I thought it would look so, it just kind of takes the Dollar Tree jar from being kind of cheap looking or just simple looking and really takes it up a notch. And lastly, I take the burnt umber and I'm just tapping it on the bell to distress it a little bit and make it look nice and vintage. And that's it. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you got this far, thank you for watching. And as always, give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And until the next one, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.